Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Friday, August the 21st. 4-game slate today yet again. We're going to go through this slate position by position, talk about each guy that stands out to me the most, looking at this slate on Thursday afternoon. These are my early looks, just giving you guys, what I see looking at this slate the night before. If you want more updated content from me, I do have that available on Patreon. That is linked down below in the description. You can definitely check out the Patreon, see all that I have to offer. I do provide a lot of updated stuff throughout the day over there. These videos I put up on YouTube, they go up the night before. On Patreon, I'm posting stuff, Friday afternoon I'll have stuff posted on Patreon for this slate. So you can definitely check that out, link down below in the description. As always, guys, I appreciate the likes and this everyone that's come and subscribed to the channel. Definitely hit that like button down below. Yesterday's video got over 400 likes. Let's try and do that again. You guys have been really killing it with the support, man. We've been getting a ton of subscribers, getting a ton of likes, a ton of views on all the videos. Again, guys, I can't thank you enough for all the support. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell as well, so that way you get notified every time I upload. You'll never miss out on any of my new videos. I do upload NBA videos every single day. I'm trying to get up MLB videos as well. MLB videos haven't been as consistent as NBA. MLB is just not as popular of a sport as NBA. It's not really my priority right now. Right now with the NBA videos doing so well, I do want to really focus on NBA. But I'll still be trying to get up MLB like every now and then. Maybe instead of uploading MLB every single day, maybe I'll try and get maybe 3 or 4 videos a week, maybe 2 or 3 videos a week. We'll just have to see. I'll try and get one up for this Friday night slate. I know there's always a lot of games on Friday night for MLB. I'm still playing every day and I'm still posting stuff on Patreon. I'm just not getting, videos up, but I'll try and do that more often. Hopefully I can. But let's go ahead and take a look at point guard for today. We will start off at the top like we always do. So we got Luka at the top here for $10,800. So Luka, I have no problems paying up for him. I just don't know if this is a slate, again, where I really prioritize Luka. I haven't really been too heavy on him the past few slates that he's been on. He was really good in Game 1. Game 2, he was also really good. The Mavericks got the win in Game 2. In terms of DFS, though, he wasn't great with just 50 Draftkings points. He didn't really get the job done at his price tag. The price came down a little bit. He's down to $10,800. The matchup's tough. I said that last video. I'm going to say it again. Going to say it till this series is over. It's not the best spot. The Clippers have 2 really good defenders they can put on Luka to slow him down. You're not going to slow down Luka. He's such a incredible player that he's going to find a way to get to the basket to score. But I guess those are 2 guys that can, do a good job of it. I just don't know if he's going to be someone I prioritize. I really like Jason Tatum today. We'll talk about him. There's some other guys I think you can pay up for. These Raptors guards, especially Fred VanVleet's been playing so well. So he's someone I like a lot. Just don't think I'm going to be going up to Luka. Donovan Mitchell's price tag is still coming up. He's $9,400. I'll probably be avoiding him. I didn't play much of him last slate. I'll probably be off him again. There is a chance that Mike Conley's able to play today. We'll have to wait and see on that news. I'm recording this video on Thursday afternoon, so like I said, these are my first looks. Conley's, he's questionable. We don't know if he's going to be able to play. If he were to play, then obviously, that's going to take somewhat of a hit for Mitchell. Definitely wouldn't be a guy that I'd want to be on. But then you got these Raptors guards who I really like again. Fred VanVleet's just been playing so well, and he's someone we definitely need to talk about. Just getting huge minutes right now. 39 minutes in a blowout win in Game 1, 43 minutes in a close game in Game 2, 60 and 49 Draftkings points. And he kind of shot the ball poorly in Game 2, and he still put up 49 DK points. He's just contributing so much in terms of assists. He's a really good ball handler. He's a guy that, whenever Kyle Lowry's off the floor, Fred VanVleet's going to be the primary point guard, going to have the ball in his hands a ton. VanVleet, we know, is going to play huge minutes. Nick Nurse will run VanVleet out there for 40 to 42 minutes every game, especially during the playoffs. His price is still just $7,600. Even after a solid game last game, they didn't move the price tag. He's still just $7.6K. I like going back to VanVleet. I definitely think his ownership's going to start rising, especially now that, we've had 2 really good games of him. But I still think he's a little bit too cheap, especially because he's playing, 42, 44, 43 minutes. It's so hard for him to fail when he's playing that many minutes. He's a guy that gives you a fantasy point per minute. So he still projects for 45 DK points. That almost feels like his floor. His floor right now feels like about 40. Even if he gets 40 today, that's not killing you at his price. And obviously he's got upside for way more. So yeah, I really like VanVleet. I have no problems with Lowry. If you want to play Lowry because of the ownership, I do have a feeling that VanVleet's going to be more popular than Lowry. So if you want to make that pivot, I don't mind that. Jamal Murray, you got at $7K. who I think's fine as well. I just would rather get to the Raptors guards over Jamal Murray, I think. But then you got a guy like Kemba Walker. So Kemba was someone I liked a lot last slate, and he was pretty good in limited time. He didn't play a ton of minutes because they just didn't need him to. The Celtics blew out the Sixers. Kemba only played 26 minutes. He was still productive, though, with 32 Draftkings points. I mean, if this game stays close today, you're going to get, 34 to 36 minutes from Kemba. The price actually came down a little on DK. He's down to 6,600. I have no problems with him on DK. I think on Yahoo, though, that's where Kemba really looks good. Over here, you got him coming in at $24. I definitely like him at that price. I think he is a little bit too cheap there. If you want to go with Kemba at 24, I have no problems with that. I think he is a really good play at that price tag. But then other point guards that we can maybe look to, like Lou Will's been playing really well off the bench, been getting solid minutes, 30-plus minutes in 2 straight, 27, 39 DK points. It seems like we're kind of getting the old Lou Will, the guy that would come off the bench, play 30, 32 minutes and score, 30, 35 DK points most nights. That looks like what we're going to get from Lou, every night while they're in the playoffs. They kind of limited him during the seeding games. He didn't play a ton during the seeding games, like in terms of minutes. I think his highest game in terms of minutes was 25. But now it seems like, there's no limitations here. 30, 32 minutes for Lou Will seems like the normal. So, he's a guy that can give you a fantasy point per minute. He's 5,600. I do like him a lot in the 5K range. I would definitely play him over guys like, I think I'd play him over Clarkson, Smart, Milton. Lou Will's the guy I like most there. But Clarkson is coming off a solid game. This is obviously dependent on Mike Conley. If Mike Conley plays today, I'll be off Jordan Clarkson. But if Mike Conley remains out, you could definitely go to Clarkson. Probably going to get about 30 to 32 minutes off the bench. He's a high-usage player, a guy that's going to be productive when he's on the floor, going to shoot the ball a ton. So at 5,500, you could also look there. I think I'd rather go to Lou Will, but Clarkson's fine. Really don't see myself going to like Smart or Milton. If we're looking for value, if we're looking for value here, I think there is one value play I want to talk about. So it's dependent on what happens with Patrick Beverley. Beverley currently listed as questionable. Did not play last game. He's expected to be a game-time decision for this game. With him out last game, we saw Reggie Jackson get the start. Reggie played 26 minutes, had 18 DraftKings points. It wasn't a great game from him, but he did play about mid-20s in minutes. If Patrick Beverley's out again, I think we get about 26 to 28 minutes from Reggie Jackson. He's still pretty cheap. He's 3,500. He has potential to pay off that salary. We really don't have a ton of value either. It's hard to find value on these playoff slates. So yeah, I don't mind Jackson at 3,500. I'm not going to consider him like the best value on the slate by any means, but he's a guy that can go out there and get you, 20, 25 DK points if he plays around 26, 28 minutes, which is what he should play if Beverley sits again. But, what sucks is that that's the 9 o'clock game. So I guess if you put Reggie Jackson in your lineup, you could do that, and then if we get news at like 7 or 7:30 that Patrick Beverley's going to play, then you can just swap from Jackson to Beverley. I still wouldn't be too heavy on Jackson, though. I don't think he's going to be like a core play for me by any means. So let's go ahead, talk about the shooting guard position. So at shooting guard, I've pretty much played Karis LeVert every slate so far that he's been on, these last 2 slates. I'm going to be playing him again today. I just still think he's too cheap, man. 8,100 on Draftkings. Yahoo, you got Karis LeVert coming in at $36. I mean, he's going to be a core play for me yet again. Look, he shot like incredibly poorly from the field last game, and he still had 43 Draftkings points. Shot 22% from the field, didn't make a single three-pointer, was 0 for 4 from behind the arc. I mean, if he makes even 35, 40% of his shots, I mean, he's going to put up 50 DK points. The peripherals are there right now. Karis LeVert's one of those guys that can contribute in all categories. The usage is there. Just getting so much usage, so much opportunity without Kyrie, without Dinwiddie, playing huge minutes as well. Got 39 minutes last game in a close game. If this game stays close, expect LeVert to play 38 to 40 minutes. His price tag actually came down a little bit to 8,100. I'm going to be right back on Karis LeVert today. I just think there's so much upside for him at this price. I know we haven't gotten that big, 55, 60-point game, but if he starts knocking down some shots, the assists and the rebounds I think are going to continue to be there. I think there's big-time upside for Karis LeVert. Like, he could easily be one of the highest-scoring players on the slate. I wouldn't even be surprised if he outscores Luka. Maybe it's possible he outscores Luka today. Like, he's got 60-point upside. I like him a lot at 8,100. He's my favorite shooting guard to pay up for. Given the savings, I'd much rather play him over Donovan Mitchell. Jaylen Brown, I don't mind him. I was pretty high on him last slate without Gordon Hayward. He played 28 minutes, 30 Draftkings points. It kind of, the blowout kind of killed him. Really the only guy from Boston that was good was Tatum. He even got hurt a little bit by the blowout. if you expect this game to stay close, you're going to see probably 36 to 38 minutes from Jaylen Brown, maybe even close to 40 minutes. At 7,200, the price tag came down a little bit from what it was on the last slate. So again, he's someone you could look to if you want to go to him. I have no problems with that. I feel like, though, if I'm paying up at shooting guard, I do prefer Karis LeVert. And I think given Van Vliet and Brown, like looking at those two guys, I think I do give the edge to Fred Van Vliet. But then you have someone like Joe Ingles, who I like a lot. Yet again, obviously this will be dependent on Mike Conley's status. Hopefully we get that word on Conley before lock. Even if it comes out after lock, you can definitely, Ingles is a fine play, even if Conley plays. I would just prefer that Conley be out. Last two games with Conley out, you got 37 and 31 DK points from Ingles, 43, 34 minutes. The minutes are going to be there. He's going to play close to 40 minutes. Only played 34 last game, but a lot of that was due to blowout. They won that game by 19 points. I'm pretty sure the starters got pulled with like 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. At 5,700, there's plenty of upside for Ingles at this price, especially if Conley sits. He can give you over a fantasy point per minute. The minutes should be there. I do have interest in him if Conley's out again. We talked about Lou Will, talked about Clarkson. Obviously, Clarkson and Ingles, will be dependent on Conley's status. Other shooting guards, though, so Joe Harris had to leave the bubble. He's going to be out for at least the next 2 games for Brooklyn. I think that's pretty big, especially on, a playoff slate and during the playoffs when you're running such a tight rotation. Harris was playing, like 36, 38 minutes a night. I think we're going to see most of those minutes probably go to like TLC, probably go to Tyler Johnson. I think Garrett Temple also gets a little bit more run as well. Temple's already playing big minutes, but there's a chance, we see him maybe get to 40 minutes today. Garrett Temple is usually someone I never like to play just because he's not a great, when it comes to peripherals, he doesn't really chip in with like rebounds and assists. He's kind of scoring dependent. But he's going to have all the opportunity in the world to shoot. They have no one else that can shoot the ball. You're going to see Garrett Temple probably take over like the Joe Harris role. Should get a little bit more shot attempts. I do want to pull up Brooklyn's numbers. I should have done this when I talked about LeVert. Pull up their numbers with all these guys off the floor. See what kind of sample size we get. So we can take Kyrie off because he's out. Take Dinwiddie off. Harris is out now, so we'll take him off the floor. And then DJ and Taurean Prince are also, not playing for Brooklyn right now. So that's 5 guys we got to take off the floor here. And looking at Garrett Temple, he's played 122 minutes with those 5 guys off the floor. Averages over a fantasy point per minute. Karis LeVert, I'm sure he has insane numbers. 103 minutes with all those guys off the floor. 31.8% usage rate, averaging 1.41 fantasy points per minute. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of guys that are viable from the Nets today. Obviously, I really like LeVert. I think Temple's in play. When we talk about center, I'll definitely hit on Jared Allen. I think Jared Allen's a very solid play again. I don't know who starts for Joe Harris. My best guess is that they go with either Tyler Johnson or Chris Gioza. Last game we saw TLC start over Rodions Kurucs. I don't know if maybe they'll shift everybody down and then move Kurucs back into the starting lineup. Like they'll play, because last game their starting lineup was it was Karis LeVert, Joe Harris, Temple, TLC, and Allen. Maybe today they go Karis LeVert, Temple, TLC, Kurucs, Allen. That's probably what they do. But I guess there is a chance you see Tyler Johnson or Chris Gioza get the start. If one of those 2 guys were to start, I think they would become viable. But just speaking on Temple, I think Temple's definitely in play today. The minutes are going to be there. Should get more shot attempts with Joe Harris out. So I do have interest in him. Tyler Johnson's cheap. He's 4,200. If he starts, I think he's viable. Chris Gioza, I believe, is also really cheap. I think he's only point guard eligible. But yeah, Chris Gioza's 3,200, so if he were to start for Harris, then he would be viable as well. Luckily, this is the 1:30 game, so we will know their starting lineup before lock. But I think that's probably it for shooting guard. Matisse Thybulle started last game, but just didn't do much for DFS. Played 25 minutes, only had 5 DraftKings points. Thybulle's just not a guy that, when it comes to DFS, he doesn't produce fantasy points. He's a great defender. They're going to use him to defend Jason Tatum. If he puts up a good game for DFS, it's probably going to be because he gets 3 blocks and 2 steals. Not really going to be because, he's shooting or taking a ton of shots. He's just not a guy that's going to do that. Offensively, he's just going to stand in the corner. It's on the defensive end where Thybulle is, really valuable. So probably won't be considering him for fantasy, just not a guy that, produces at a high rate. So let's go ahead and move on to small forward now. So you got Kawhi here at 9,600. I don't think I'm going to be going to Kawhi today. I would rather go to Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum's probably one of my favorite pay-up options. 9,200 on DraftKings. Just played so well during the series. Through 2 games, 41 and 31 minutes, 57 and 50 DraftKings points. even in just 31 minutes last game, obviously 31 minutes were played because of the blowout, still had 50 Draftkings points. I mean, took 20 shots, 33 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Gets a little bit of a bump with Gordon Hayward out. I don't think the price tag came up enough on DraftKings. I think he should be, close to 10K. He should be priced up there where Kawhi is at like 9,800, 10K. Because this is going to be a guy that gives us probably 45, 50 fantasy points at least every game if I had to guess. The ball is going to be in Tatum's hands a ton. He's going to get all the usage, especially without Gordon Hayward. That should help his rebounding numbers as well. He's my favorite stud today. Really like Jason Tatum here at 9,200 on DK. Like him a lot over on Yahoo as well, coming in at $40. I think it looks like a really good play over there too. Just hard to not like Tatum with how much usage he's getting in the Celtics offense. Normally Tatum's not a guy that I love paying up for, but he's got upside right now. He's pretty much a superstar in my opinion. He's going to be incredibly good over the next few years, especially like for DFS. I mean, this a guy we're probably going to see during the regular season next season. Like he'll probably be priced around this same price range pretty much the entire season. Going to be a guy that gives you 45 to 50 most night, I feel like. I mean, he should be locked into huge minutes. He played like 40 minutes in their first game that was close. If this game stays close today, I think we get about 40 minutes from Tatum. So I do prefer him over Kawhi. Definitely one of my favorite studs. Don't see myself going to like PG or Tobias Harris. Just don't think those are going to be guys I really build around today. MPJ had a good game last game. Finally got good minutes too. Played 33 minutes, 40 DraftKings points. There's always that upside for MPJ. I'm pretty sure he came out and just started knocking down a bunch of shots. Whenever he does that, usually Mike Malone will give him minutes. If he comes out and he starts knocking down some shots, there's potential for MPJ to blow this price out of the water. He's got the upside. I mean, he's got 45, 50-point upside. It's just on the defensive end. That's where he really struggles. And if they're kind of picking on him on the defensive end and he's, getting beat defensively, Malone will pull him pretty quickly. So that's always a risk. But the upside's there. The price tag did come down a little bit on DK. So I don't mind MPJ at 6,700. Will Barton is still out and Gary Harris are both still out. So, that should solidify his minutes. But then you have like Ingles and Temple, who we talked about earlier, who I do like quite a bit. Marcus Morris, he's been playing really well. He's up to 5K. Last 2 games, 32 and 35 minutes, 37 and 31 DraftKings points. Now, I didn't expect Morris to be this productive. Playing alongside Kawhi and PG, I didn't expect him to be this productive at all. You saw during the regular season, he just wasn't doing much for fantasy. I guess during the playoffs now, he's kind of found his role that he's able to succeed in. He's getting the minutes, which I think is something that makes him viable. I don't know if he's going to continue to put up over 30 DraftKings points every night, but I think the minutes are going to continue to be there. I guess he's fine at 5K. I probably would lean with Temple over him, though, over Marcus Morris. I really have no problems with either guy, though. TLC, however, I do like him a lot as a value. He's 4,600 on DraftKings. He started last game and was pretty disappointing, but played huge minutes. Got 36 minutes. Only put up 21 DK points, but, huge minutes, which is something we like to see. With Joe Harris out today, there's a chance we see TLC play around 40 minutes. No Joe Harris should allow a guy like TLC to get more shot attempts up. Harris was taking about 15 shots a game. I think, Karis LeVert should get a little bit more opportunity to score. TLC should get more opportunity to score. At 4,600, especially, coming off a disappointing game, his ownership might be pretty low today. I can't remember what it was last slate, but I think it will be pretty low today. I do like him as a value. Between him and Garrett Temple, you can go with either guy. I think I do give the edge to TLC, though, especially because he's cheaper. I mean, you saw the numbers. With all these guys off the floor, TLC has averaged over a fantasy point per minute. Has about a 21% usage rate, which is pretty high. I believe that's third highest on the team. Out of all the guys that really get minutes, it's only behind Karis LeVert, Jeremiah Martin, who probably won't even get any minutes, won't play much off the bench. I don't think Martin's really been playing at all, honestly. Let me check that real quick. He played 9 minutes in the blowout, but didn't play at all last game. So, yeah, Jeremiah Martin really not even going to touch the floor, so don't really have to worry about him. Honestly, he's got the second highest usage rate on the team, I guess third highest behind LeVert and Tyler Johnson. Musa has a high usage rate, but I don't think he's really going to play much either. So I do like TLC a lot on DK. I like him on Yahoo as well. He is very cheap over here. You got TLC coming in at just $12. I think he definitely looks like one of the better, small forward values, and honestly, probably one of the better values overall, at just $12. But then under 5K, besides TLC, there's one guy that I want to talk about, Royce O'Neal, 4,100 on DK. He was really popular on the first slate. He was pretty popular last slate as well. He went out there and crushed, had 37 DraftKings points in 35 minutes, kind of contributed with everything, had 9 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. I don't know if we're going to get that type of game from Royce O'Neal again, but the minutes are going to continue to be there. The only reason he played just 32 minutes in game 1 was because of foul trouble. If he stays out of foul trouble, and if it's a close game, expect probably 36 to 38 minutes from Royce O'Neal. With Bojan Bogdanovic not playing for the Jazz, that does solidify Royce O'Neal for big minutes every night. And we saw during the seeding games, when he was getting solid minutes, he was putting up 32, 36 DK points. I mean, he's 4,100 today. Like, even if he gets 25, obviously that's not like a score you have to have, but he's not really killing your lineup at that price. If he gets like 30, 35, he's going to be a guy you kind of want to have when he's 4,100. So I like going back to Royce O'Neal. I don't think this is really point chasing. I don't know if he's going to go out there and drop nearly 40 DK points again, but he can easily give you 25 to 30. He's a guy that averages about 0.8 fantasy points per minute, going to play probably 36, 38 minutes. I still think he's too cheap on DK at 4,100. I think he's pretty cheap on Yahoo as well. I do like him over there, $14. A little bit more expensive than TLC, but I still don't mind him at $14 on Yahoo. He does look like one of the better values, just looking at this slate the night before. But yeah, I think we covered small forward. I mentioned Tybal. Even if he starts again, I doubt I go there. So let's talk about power forward now. So, you got Siakam here for 9,300. I don't mind Siakam. I think I do prefer him over Tobias Harris. I don't want to be a guy that just looks at game logs, but Pascal Siakam has just not been good. 35, 34 last 2 games, even during the seeding games, just wasn't producing much, just hasn't shown a ton of upside, but the price is coming down, which I think does make him appealing. If I'm going to play guys from the Raptors, though, I think I want to go to like Fred VanVleet and I want to go to Kyle Lowry, especially because those guys are only a couple hundred more. Honestly, I don't see myself paying up for power forward unless I'm playing like Jason Tatum here. I think Tatum has power forward eligibility. I'm not saying, yeah, he's got power forward eligibility. So if I'm paying up here, I'm probably just going to play Tatum. You got MPJ, who we mentioned you could play at 6,700. Under 5K, though, OG, kind of a similar play to Royce O'Neal. Not a great point per minute player, but locked into big minutes. I would rather play Royce O'Neal because Royce is cheaper. But, OG is going to play about 36 minutes. He's a guy that's probably going to give you 20 to 25 DK points. Sometimes you'll see those random games where he hits, a couple threes, gets like 3 or 4 steals, and he puts up like 35. He's got that upside, but like I said, I want to save the money, just play Royce for 4,100. Those two guys are very similar plays. I think Royce is just the guy that I want to go to because of the price tag. But like Paul Millsap's cheap, but man, he just hasn't been doing anything. Last game only played 18 minutes because of the blowout, 8 DK points. Even in the game that stayed close, he did play 29 minutes, but still wasn't that productive, just 20 DK points. The price tag's, it hasn't gone down. If Paul Millsap was like 3,900 today, I think it'd be a different story. At 4,400, don't think I really have to go there. Jeremy Grant's been getting solid run off the bench, 40 minutes, 27 minutes the last 2 games. You never know what his production is going to look like. Obviously, he's like the 5th option on this team, behind Jokic, behind Jamal Murray, even behind like MPJ. But still, he's probably going to come off the bench and play about 30 minutes. It seems like they want to play him over Paul Millsap. I guess if I was going to play one of Millsap or Grant, I'd probably play Grant. I still don't love either guy, though. DFS, just one of those guys that's going to play big minutes. You never know what you're going to get from him for fantasy. Most games he's giving you about 20 to 25. But the minutes should be there. Hard to argue against him when he's, pretty cheap and is going to play over 30 minutes. I guess if Kurucs winds up starting, he could become viable at 3,800. We'll just have to wait and see there. Last game he moved to the bench and only played 16 minutes. Even in the game he started, in game 1, he only played 16 minutes. So I guess it is a bit risky. I guess, but if he were to start, though, I'd feel a little bit more confident in him. I think there's a good chance you probably see either Tyler Johnson or Chris Gioza get the start, though. So, yeah, I think we covered power forward. Let's go ahead and run through center real quick just before we end the video. So, at the top here at center, you got Jokic, you got Embiid. Embiid coming in at 9,800, Jokic coming in at 9,300. On the last video, I said I preferred Jokic. It was very close between Jokic and Embiid. I gave the slight edge to Jokic. I know Embiid had a solid game, but he lost a lot of minutes because of blowout. Still had 53 DraftKings points, played 34 minutes, but I think he got pulled with like 5 or 6 minutes left in the game, which obviously hurt him. I'm pretty sure him and Jokic scored like just about the same amount. Embiid had 53, Jokic had 51. I mean, these two guys are going to project so similarly every slate. It's going to be so hard to pick. There's going to be one slate where like Embiid goes for 70 and Jokic goes for Jokic busts and goes for 35. And then there's going to be a slate where Jokic smashes, goes for like 75, and Embiid gets in foul trouble and goes for 30. Like there's going to be one of those slates where it happens. I mean, I guess I'd rather side with Jokic because he's $500 less. You know, on Yahoo he's also cheaper than Embiid. He's $5 less than Embiid over here. I guess I'd give the slight edge to Jokic. I mean, really, it's a flip a coin between Jokic and Embiid. They project so similarly. They're both probably going to give you at least 50 as long as they play their full minutes and aren't in foul trouble. You know, one of these games, one of them is going to pop off for like 70, 75 and have a big ceiling game. If I had to side with one, I think I would rather play Jokic just because he's a little bit cheaper. I have no problems with Embiid, though. You know, definitely a guy you could pay up for as well. Then you got like Porzingis at 8,500. Just don't know if I get to Porzingis at 8,500. I think I'm either going to pay up for Embiid, Jokic here, or go down to like Jared Allen. Jared Allen, I like him a lot again. You know, I talked about him last slate. He's very similar to Karis LeVert. Like, he's just a guy that I'm going to keep playing. You know, locked into massive minutes right now. Played 41 minutes last game. Was very productive with 45 Draftkings points. I mean, you saw the numbers with all these guys off the floor. You got Jared Allen coming in. You know, obviously he's not a high-usage player, but averages 1.18 fantasy points per minute. Has a very solid 18.5% total rebound percentage, which is the highest on the team. I mean, if he plays his full minutes, he feels like a lot for a double-double. We know Jared Allen's a guy that can go out there and block 4 or 5 shots. There's still upside for him at 7,100. Between him and Rudy Gobert, you know, I think I actually do prefer Jared Allen for a little bit cheaper. On Yahoo, you got Allen coming in $3 less than Gobert. So I definitely prefer Allen over there. But Serge Ibaka's 5,300. You know, I think there's a chance we eventually see Serge Ibaka start over Marc Gasol. Like, Marc Gasol has just played so bad recently. Ibaka's been outplaying him, coming off the bench and getting the minutes. I feel like, you know, maybe this game or maybe the next game, if Gasol really continues to struggle, eventually Ibaka's going to wind up starting. If that does happen, you know, obviously that's a boost for his value. Even coming off the bench, though, you know, I expect Ibaka to play around 30 minutes or close to it. He's a guy that has upside. He's 5,300. He's not, you know, cheap by any means. But if I'm going to play one of the centers between Ibaka or Gasol, even though Gasol's way cheaper, I think I'd rather go with Ibaka. You know, I kind of liked Gasol last slate, and he just didn't do anything. Only played 17 minutes, just 6 Draftkings points. I'm sure one of these slates, like, nobody's going to play Gasol, and then he's going to go out there and crush, but it's just so hard to trust him right now. The minutes aren't there. The production really isn't there. Ibaka's been outplaying him. They obviously want to give Ibaka minutes over Gasol. I'm pretty sure Ibaka has been closing out games over Gasol, so yeah, I can't really go to Gasol. If I was going to play one of those two guys, it'd probably be Ibaka. But then you got the Clippers guys like Zubac for 4,400, Harrell for 4,100. I mean, Zubac's going to get his normal like 20, 22 minutes. Only played 18 minutes last game. Kind of disappointing, but he's still cheap. I guess there's some potential you could look there. I mean, Harrell did see his minutes ramp up last game, played 22 minutes, but still was not productive at all, just 11 Draftkings points. I think if I'm going to play one of the Clippers centers, I think I do prefer Montrezl Harrell today. Just because, you know, in the long run, he's going to wind up being the guy that gets more minutes than Zubac. I mean, he got more minutes than Zubac last game. Zubac only played 18. Harrell got 22. I mean, Harrell's going to see his minutes increase if I had to guess, you know, as it gets more playing time. He is coming back from quarantine. He hasn't played in a while. I think he probably plays about 25, 26 minutes today. I don't expect him to be as productive as he normally is or as he used to be because when you have Kawhi, you have PG, demanding the ball, high-usage players. That's obviously going to take production away from Montrezl Harrell. But still, at 4,100, I mean, he is incredibly cheap. You know, normally this is a guy we see priced around $6K. You're getting a big discount on Montrezl Harrell. You know, I think he is viable at 4,100. If I'm going to play a cheap center today between like Zubac, Harrell, Tice, Gasol, you know, I definitely think Harrell is my favorite guy to go to there. But there really isn't any value under 4K at center. Cantor got good run off the bench. He played 22 minutes, but who knows if that happens again. You know, even if Cantor plays 20 minutes, do you need to have him at 3,700? Like, probably not. You know, you can probably get away with, you know, not having him. He's just too risky to trust. You know, you never know what Brad Stevens is going to do. One game, he'll give Cantor 25 minutes. The next game, Cantor won't even play. So, yeah, I'm probably not going to go cheap at center unless I play Montrezl Harrell. So, that's what I'm liking for this slate, guys. I think we, you know, covered it all. Covered each position for DK and for Yahoo. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. I really do appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, just hit that like button before you get out of here. Hit the subscribe button as well. Click that notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. And if you have not yet, you can check out my exclusive content on Patreon. That's linked down below in the description. Obviously, it's optional. You don't have to. But if you do want to get more content from me, if you really enjoy these videos and you want to see more that I have to offer, that is linked down below in the description over on Patreon. But yeah, best of luck today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I really do appreciate you watching. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.